this has the all or nothing feel to it, right? I mean, either what are we going to see from Zach Wilson? If it's the Zach Wilson we've seen this year, that's nothing to be scared of. If it's, the player that's in the back of your mind because you haven't shaken same old Lions from your
I'm sorry, you can't shake that.
It's hard to. It really is.
Or I don't want to say you can't shake it. I want to say that I understand for those who can't shake it.
Yeah, because as much as they've turned the season around, they still haven't made the playoffs. They still haven't won a playoff game.
There's not even 500.
Right. There's lots to prove still. And this would be another thing that you prove. It's another, you know what? This is like, it's like when you wear a concert t-shirt and it has all the dates on the back of it. I feel like that's what the Lions need to have, or dates that they've slayed different versions of SOL, Beating Green Bay, there you go. Avenging a loss earlier in the season so you don't lose in the last seconds again. Did that, Minnesota. Click, take care of Aaron Rodgers or handle this and that, win on the road, and they've done that. All these little things you have to do. And the next one is you can write in Zach Wilson. 12, 18, 22. Can they slay that one? And there's not slaying Zach Wilson. What you are doing is slaying the dragon of, quarterback that shouldn't beat you, that would be an SOL moment. You're Matt Flynn. Zach Wilson is the modern-day Matt Flynn right now for this team. Now, in reality, he's not. I mean, Matt Flynn played – they were resting Aaron Rodgers, and he got to start only because of that. Zach Wilson was the starting quarterback, so it's a little bit different. But nonetheless, we understand the analogy we're making here when we refer him to Matt Flynn.
A quarterback you shouldn't lose to.
Right.
How's that?
Exactly. A quarterback you shouldn't lose to. That's probably the best way to phrase it.
But just like a concert analogy you use, Gator, you could slay that and mark that off the tour date. But just like Bob Seger's final tour, it comes back. Okay? So you slay it. It's not slaying it for all time. How many times is, we're better than the Bears. Trubisky sucks. And Trubisky's like 7-1 against the Lions. And he plays like a Pro Bowl quarterback against the Lions. That's why the SOL thing creeps into your mind when you hear Zach Wilson starting. And you don't immediately go, this is great news. We're going to clearly win now.
Well,
because you're not sure, because you've been hurt before.
We've all been hurt before,
and this
right?
team isn't 14-2. You know what I mean? Or this team isn't like, they're 6-7. They've been playing great for sure, but
they flipped the script this year on the season. Like early in the season there were plenty of those moments, right? You lose in the last second to the Vikings. You can't cover Osborne on that last drive, and he ends up beating you. Against the Seahawks, that loss at home, right? Geno Smith beat the Lions? Huh? Geno Smith got off to this amazing start. Now Geno Smith is looking like maybe the Seahawks need to find another quarterback, and he wasn't very good last night either.
Or get some offensive line help.
Well, that would probably – they did – the thing is they're starting a couple of tackles that are rookies. I mean, that's what's happening there. They'll be fine with that. But, yeah, it's that. It's which quarterback from the Patriots is going to beat you, and then what is going on here? But then they started to turn things around, right? They played well against Tua and the Dolphins. Then they beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Then they beat the Bears on the road thanks to a missed extra point, but we'll take it, right? Then they went to the Giants and won back-to-back games on the road. That's another one that you put on the tour date, right? That they did that. Not only did they beat the Giants, they beat them handily. What did Saquon Barkley do in the game? He had like 24 yards rushing in the game. They play a tough game against the Bills on Thanksgiving Day, but they lose in the last play, and that had plenty of SOL moments to it, right? What'd they do? They bounced right back. Smoked the Jaguars 40-14. Then they have a rematch against the Vikings. What happened there? Well, they beat the Vikings handily, 34-23. The only reason it looked that close because Okudah got hurt, or didn't get hurt. He was sick and couldn't go that much in the second half. And they started to find Jefferson open, and they started getting some yards and put a couple more points on the board. But the Lions weren't threatened by the Vikings in that game. It feels like they've turned a corner. And yet, you won't really know if they turned a corner until the end of the season. But we don't play the game of waiting to the end of the season. We play the game of what does your gut tell you right now? What does your heart tell you? What does your head tell you? How do you feel about this team?